Hey, this is Ricky Nunez.
And this is William Johnston, and this is our client counseling assignment.
Awesome. Tony, thanks for coming in today. As we've seen on the pre-questionnaire that we have for our office for any new clients, you have a question about an apartment today. Joining the call today, we have my associate or my partner, William Johnston, and he'll be helping us out with any questions that you have during this meeting. Is there anything that I can get you to start off this meeting? Any water or anything like that?
I'm all right, thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, so Tony, yeah, as Ricky said, I'm William Johnston. I'm his associate. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Do you, so what questions do you have about the apartment?
So I was just wanting to get some legal advice from you guys. My spouse and I have been looking for apartments down in Decatur. We're trying to get we really like the school reputation there, and so we're really trying to get looking for places that fit my family needs with the competitive market and price increase with the economy and everything. It hasn't been easy, and so pretty much the main scenario was we found a perfect 3-bedroom apartment, and my husband spoke with the landlord, and we really thought that this was it seemed like this was in the bag for us. And the issue, or one of the things too, is that it's on a ground floor, which is important because I've got 2 kids, and one of them has special needs in a wheelchair. So it suited my family perfectly, and we made an appointment to
Tony, just to interrupt you, and I apologize. Just so we kind of get an idea of your family. So it's you and a spouse, and then you said 2 kids.
I got 2 kids.
Okay, awesome. So it's a family household. It's an apartment that should be sleeping 4.
Yeah,
Perfect.
preferable, we're looking around 3-bedroom, something on the ground floor, or that can accommodate, wheelchair access.
Okay, so is one of your kids in a wheelchair, or your
Yeah,
spouse?
I've got a kid in a wheelchair with special needs.
And how old is this child?
6. And then I got Drew, who's a 7-year-old.
Awesome.
And any reason for Decatur or for the move? Are you local from Atlanta, or?
It's the school district. We're trying to get them into a there's a really good school there that could accommodate both kids. We've got kindergartner and 1st grade. So there's the school that's called Inclusion School that could accommodate both my kids at the same time with special needs. And so that's why we're looking for a house in Decatur.
Gotcha.
So what was the problem with this particular place?
So we were speaking with the landlord, and we knew that the apartment was open, it was available, and he made an appointment for us to come see it. So my husband took our 2 kids and went to go see the apartment. And when my husband and kids arrived, I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember. My husband was so furious when he called me. The landlord opened the door and saw, my family, and looked down and said that my husband had looked different on the phone. He is a Black and indigenous colored person of color, and he was wearing casual clothes, and then with my child in the wheelchair. So the landlord looked and said that my husband sounded different on the phone, and then it was informed that they had already rented the apartment. But what really infuriated him is why I'm here next.
Okay, well, first off, I'd just like to say I'm sorry that happened to him. I'm sure it's tough, and he faces those situations a lot. And I can only imagine that was a really difficult situation for him and for your kids to have to go through.
It was, thank you.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate as well, that the tone of the voice on the phone even played a part into this. seems like it's not a very good situation to be involved in with this landlord. So hopefully we can kind of figure out what's going on with this landlord and kind of what caused these issues.
Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Okay, so what happened next?
So what we noticed was when a few days later, I was spending time online, back to my apartment search, and we noticed that there was still a for rent sign in the window of the apartment building that, we had just visited. So I was kind of wanting to get some advice on you guys on whether there's anything I can do in terms of financially or law or, just trying to get a range of options here.
And for my better understanding, so just to make sure that we have this all very clear, you had called the landlord to schedule a viewing of this apartment. You went to view the apartment. When your spouse showed up, the landlord said that there was an issue essentially with renting of this apartment and told you that it wouldn't be available to y'all. Y'all left, and then a few days later, you saw that it was back up for rent when the landlord had told you that it was not available for rent to y'all.
That's correct.
Okay.
And just a follow-up question to that, just to make sure I have everything right here. You tried to contact the landlord after you left, after your husband and children left that initial meeting?
We have not. Once we found that out, I came straight here to see whether I do have any, options legally, or if, just any type of options that I need to consider, whether I have, some sort of legal option. That's why I wanted to come get some advice from you guys.
Okay, so first off, and I'd like to just remind you that this whole meeting is confidential. Anything you say to us does not leave this room. So just to make sure I have everything right. So what exactly did the landlord say to your husband?
So my husband was the one who spoke with the landlord on the phone, and the landlord did say that the residents of the building were mostly older and they preferred a quiet environment. But my husband said that it sounded like, the apartment was pretty much ours. So my husband took the kids that day to go inspect the apartment, and my husband was off work, so he was wearing, wasn't dressed up or anything, just wearing casual park clothes. And what I was told was that when they knocked on the door, an older Caucasian man, the landlord, opened it, and he took a straight hard look at my son in the wheelchair, and then my spouse, and quote, he said he sounded different on the phone, and then immediately said they had rented out the apartment and slammed the door. So I don't know whether it's, because of my spouse or because of my special needs husband or son, or, what.
Okay.
And just to give myself a better picture of this, did you see any of the other residents in the neighborhood? Well, or did your husband, excuse me, see any of the other residents in the neighborhood when he went on this visit?
He just saw a few of them, but they were all just older Caucasian men.
Okay. All right. Well, this definitely sounds like, first off, obviously a very difficult situation. I know you and your family are just trying to live somewhere that's a little more convenient for you, and to face this difficulty is definitely not ideal. So we do think that we can help you out. We can't make any promises as to the success of any claim, But we do think that the landlord was acting in a discriminatory manner towards your husband and your children. So we can proceed, and we just want you to know that we're gonna fight really hard for you, and that there's a level of trust that we want to have between the two of us. So just to be clear, have you guys looked for any other place, or did y'all come straight here? Are y'all still wanting to live?
So, I mean, the thing, we've been just looking for months, and it's just been, I think when we finally found a place that was available within our school district, that was, on the first floor, that suited our needs, and, we were really excited, and relieved. And then to have been rejected like that with no explanation, I mean, my family was just humiliated. So we're still on the market. We're still trying to find somewhere to live. And I mean, I work, my husband works, so, we don't know whether litigation is going to be too much of a commitment, or if there's even a financial settlement that would relate to this. So I wasn't sure what you guys were thinking.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely in a tough situation right now, especially with two kids, one in a wheelchair and special needs. I can only imagine that this makes your life more difficult, especially when you're hoping to have a seamless transition to a new apartment indicator with the specialty school to help out your children. At this point, were there, and as my partner said here, this is all confidential. There are there's nothing that we can discuss with anybody else about this. Could you, I mean, when your husband visited, I mean, was there possibly anything that he may have said or did that possibly rubbed the landlord the wrong way? Or could you think of anything that possibly could have caused the landlord to be upset with your husband visiting?
Absolutely not. And since he was with the kids, I know that he wouldn't have said anything or done anything in front of them that, would have been inappropriate. It didn't even seem like my husband had a chance to really even speak. It just kind of seemed like the second landlord opened the door, he made a brief comment, and then that was it.
Okay, thank you.
So just to follow up on that too, did your husband, when your husband talked to the landlord on the phone, was he pleasant? Did he show any signs of
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we told him that we were looking for an area, and the landlord explained that, the apartment was available, and he actually occupies one of the apartments himself. And I mean, it was a great conversation. He said that he was the one who told us that there was a unit available with the 3 bedrooms. So, it was open discussion, and he was the one who helped us set up the appointment to inspect the apartment. So he was very cooperative up until the point where my family went to actually go inspect it.
And was the landlord aware of the possibility of your children living in the apartment with you?
I believe that was mentioned by my spouse. We told him the 3 bedroom and that it needed to be on the first floor. So definitely knew that we had kids. I know that he had mentioned that it's mostly a quiet, the tenants are mostly quiet, but we assured them that that wouldn't be a problem.
And no pets?
No pets.
Perfect. Because normally we get pushback from landlords with pets barking too much. Normally kids are generally pretty quiet and can be controlled, and aren't left in the apartment during the day when the parents are gone normally. So that's, I think, definitely something that'll help us in this case, where it sounds like, and again, with more facts and speaking to other people, we'll be able to kind of nail this down, but it does sound like your husband was discriminated against when he did show up. So hopefully this is something that we can kind of further pursue and kind of get more details out of to hopefully help you out, get you in a spot, get your family settled, get your kids in school, and get your life rolling again.
Right.
So just to ask, do you think that this is, a legal matter? Is this something that is worth the stress of filing a lawsuit? Is it, even worth going that far?
Absolutely. As you said, this residence is so close to this great school. It's in a good neighborhood. It's up and coming. This is definitely a place you want to live. And if the landlord acted in a discriminatory manner towards your family, then that is something that we can pursue. You may have a claim. And we are going to fight as hard as possible to make sure that you succeed on that claim. Now, following up that, as for our rate, we charge $3.50 an hour. And the reason is because we take your case very seriously. And we will be available to you at any time you need us. And we want to make sure that you and your family get relief, and we're going to fight as hard as possible to do that.
That's great. Thank you all so much. So another question, I guess, what would the next steps be?
So generally speaking, the next steps, we would need to essentially document this agreement to take you on as our client. Generally lays out just general things that this is confidential. The payment structure, how we get paid, when we get paid. For example, if we win the case, will we get paid? If we lose the case, will we get paid? So that will all be discussed in our structure. And then the only other thing that we will kind of be diving into is just more discovery on what happened to you and the actual events that happened, and look into the law of fair housing and any discrimination related to the housing.
Right. And another, I guess my biggest concern was, working with, my husband and I both work full time and dealing with, the special needs. And currently they're at 2 different schools because we haven't been, so it's a lot of juggling around. So is this, going to be extremely time consuming? I know it's obviously going to take a lot of work, but will I be able to juggle the lawsuit in addition to everything else going on right now?
Well, as I said earlier, that's what we're here for. We're here to make your life easier. We're here to help you out. We're here to do the heavy lifting. And as far as all the stuff that you have to juggle right now, which I know is a lot, you just have to provide us with the details of the incident, and we'll do the rest.
The only other thing that we'll need is just your direction, because this is your case. We're just here to help you as best as we can and inform you to the best of our ability on what we think would be the best choice. We may not always be able to provide you the exact answer or the exact correct choice. But based on our experience and our knowledge, we're going to try to guide you to make the smartest decision for you and your family. And just want to make sure that you feel that you are in control of this case. We're here to work for you. You hired us. So just remember, you're the boss, we're the employees, and we're here to help you out.
Great. Well, I know I've already taken up 27 minutes of your time. Do you guys have a few more minutes to talk, or?
Well, and just before we finalize this meeting, would working with us be something that you'd be interested? Would you like for us to take on your case?
Absolutely. If you guys are willing to take me on as a client, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for coming into our office today. We're glad that we get the chance to rectify your situation, and we look forward to jumping in.
Great. Thank you all so much for your help. I appreciate it.
Great.
No problem.
Thank you, Tony.